Magnet Academy. This is the U.S. First Robotics team, and today we'd like to just tell you a little bit about what we do at David Thibodeau and also about the new adventures that we are moving forward to with STEM. First of all, we are founded by Dean Kamen. U.S. First Robotics is meant to inspire students into STEM and also to be able to use life experiences for kids to be able to understand what robotics is all about and also to be able to nurture technology from a young age, from ages 6 through 18. We end up supporting math, science, language arts, business, computer science, even from programming all the way to having mentors and bringing students to the place where they are effective and efficient entrepreneurs. There are programs that we end up using to be able to bring kids into understanding true cooperation and also how to be gracious in all and professional in all situations wherever they may present themselves. We end up understanding the true ideas of what it means to be a professional on a level at a very young age so that they are true innovators and members of the community.
So this is our three teams that we have for David Thibodeau. Is FLO, our middle school team. They work with Legos. The FLO stands for First Lego League, and they build things out of Legos that solve problems. And next we have our FTC, which is kind of our young high schoolers team, and they deal with tiny robots that, you know, our challenges are given out every year. And finally, our FRC team, which is kind of our older high schoolers, deals with bigger robots, and the challenges are usually harder, and there's a lot of people that come from all over the state and the country to participate. And the first year we started out for our FRC team, we went to Worlds, and our last member of our original FRC team is not here. He graduated last year. And then the next year we went to regionals. We didn't get to go to Worlds. And then last year we went to regionals, and I don't think we went to Worlds that time either. But last year we went to regionals and we didn't go to Worlds.
And we introduced our first technical challenge teams, which is our middle school team, from grades 7 through all the way through 12. We competed in a competition, Cascade Effect, in Baton Rouge, and the team came out really, really well. I'm proud of Louisiana. We also offer summer camps and fundraisers.
So for the summer camps, we'll have, I'm an instructor on the robotics summer camps. We basically teach Lego Mindstorms, people with little experience to no experience with robotics. And this year, summer of 2016, we're going to be introducing the Arduino Technology Summer Camp, which is for more experienced people.
And so the past sponsorships that we've had with our camps, we have had this past year, our focus was on Minecraft. So as you can see, we had a team of 5th and 6th graders, incoming 6th graders from our local area schools, and they had an amazing time learning first Lego Mindstorms and being able to solve problems, how to solve mazes and everything, programming at a very young age, and you have a lot of fun using Minecraft. We've also been at the Steampunk and Makers Fair at the Lafayette Science Museum. This was basically almost our first introduction to the public. We were able to show off how our team worked along with the UL Architecture Department. And with that architecture department, we had business leaders to come and see the students and see what they made. And we also came out of that whole event with a student being able to be offered a job working with his own inventions. So, and that's Paul right here. He got offered part of the International Society of Automation, and we just came back from a shrimp boil in which we were able to present our robot and be able to show off how well the kids did. And this past weekend, we worked with Barnes & Noble. They saw all of the extensive work that we've been doing, and they just called us up and said, you guys look like you guys really, really need some money. So here, we're going to have a whole weekend worth of fundraising. And so this weekend, the team worked the entire weekend, and we sold almost $10,000 worth of Barnes & Noble product. And we get 20% of that. So, yeah. Sure that even though our kids are focused on their own education, but they've got to be able to give back. They can be doing some amazing and wonderful things personally, but how do you give that back? So in order to do that, the kids end up, we were donated a Power Wheels vehicle from Fisher-Price, and by Southeastern Louisiana University donated the Power Wheels truck. It's a little F-150 truck, and the students are going to be retrofitting it and basically doing a renovation of the Power Wheels vehicle so that it's customized for a little 3-year-old little boy with special needs and disabilities. So this student with all of these physical disabilities is now going to be able to roll around in his own little Power Wheels, just like any other 3-year-old boy. And these students are going to be doing all of that work on their own.
So on with our two teams, our FTC and FRC team, we have multiple different leads. We have our team captain, which is Nicholas Meadows. He couldn't be here today. He had other priorities. I'm co-captain. My name is Paul Pryor. We have our software technician, Shreya. She wasn't able to make it today. But we have a lot of different people who come from different backgrounds who all come together on our teams to make a really strong team to build a program.
This year's competition has been introduced to us. It's called Stronghold. The students have 6 weeks to create a robot that will complete a specific, very challenging task. And they hold out on us on how this challenge is actually going to be carried out until January 9th at kickoff. And then from the 9th, we go to LSU in Baton Rouge and we basically pick up a kit. And this kit has just basic parts like only little nuts and bolts and some little microcontrollers and maybe a couple of motors, but it's kind of a big kit, and the kids basically build their own robot from scratch. So it's quite intense, especially at the 5th and 6th week deadline. So, and there is room for everyone. So,
we have people who come from programming, building, design, 3D modeling, leadership roles. We have to have people who are good at graphic design, outreach, public PR, public relations. We need a lot of people to come help us.
And the competitions are amazing. It's a very large venue. If you've ever been to the Ponta Training Center in New Orleans, this is a huge venue. There are over 60 teams that end up competing from around the entire southern region of the United States. There was also a team from Mexico last year that also came to compete along with us. And we usually come out around the 25th to 30th place out of all of those teams in this southern region. There's all the way from cheerleading. So my daughter is basically, she's been a middle schooler all this time, but she wanted to be a part of robotics. So she's our mascot. So she created her own costume so that she can be there and participate with us. So the costumes end up being very elaborate. We have giveaways. We have to give away. We can advertise companies. We can be able to put company logos on our robot and be able to promote all of the supporters that are helping us. So there is absolute room for everyone. And so the biggest reason we end up traveling to end up doing presentations like this is because our students thrive on sponsorship. And the sponsorship ends up making it so that the kids actually be a part of the community. They understand what it's like to truly be in a workplace, how to deal with professionals, how to market themselves, how to be able to present themselves. They also be able to need that support from the community to show this is what we do and this is how we are preparing for the workforce. Sponsors also end up giving a pipeline for our students to be able to get into these companies. So if our students gather internships or be able to work for the summer, or they end up being able to be engaged with employees at these individual companies, it gives them some opportunities. It just opens up opportunities. So what if a student ends up doing an internship as a sophomore in high school all the way through his senior year, and then he can still further his career once he ends up graduating from David Thibodeau, he has an opportunity to continue that internship even during his college years, which ends up being a homegrown company employee that knows the ins and outs of a company, of this particular company, and is able to grow with that company by the time they graduate. And now you have a student that is now a valuable employee to that company. And so your sponsorship means a whole lot. And it goes a very long way. So in order to become a sponsor, you can contact me at any time. And basically, sponsors end up providing financial support. They also provide internships and fundraising. They help us in fundraising. We also are able to advertise and give away banners and brochures. And if you'd like to sponsor a team, those mentors actually come in and work with the kids, because this is a fully student-created organization. The students do all of the work, they do all of the planning, all the way from design to this marketing of these products. And we need mentors, the experts, who really know the ins and outs of all of these different areas. So how do we do that? Well, the students need to be guided by someone, and those guides can be you. And so our approximate schedule, basically we do robotics the whole year. So from August we start gathering up new members. And then in September, the students end up working towards what's called Fall Frenzy, which is an expo that there is here in Lafayette through Lafayette Parish School Board. And they're able to start with smaller challenges, be able to present themselves, basically almost practice for the 6 weeks that they have for build season. And then in January, starting January 9th, we go to the design and building phase and then kickoff. And during March, this is competition time. This is build season. So we have 6 weeks of intense building and designing. And then in New Orleans at the Bayou Regional at the Pontchartrain Center, we end up competing against all of these 60 teams. And there are rounds and rounds and rounds of inspections, having to make sure that safety is totally available, making sure that they are actually participating with all of the other teams in competition. So we'd like to invite you guys. It is a free event. You'll be able to see true robotics and STEM at its maximum. And it's free, March 17th through the 19th.
And we would like to thank all of our present sponsors that we have right now. We have a list of all their logos. They've come in, some of them have come in and mentored our kids and worked with our kids. And we'd like to invite anybody who'd like to come in and see. We have a work day on the 16th, this Monday, at our school. And anybody's welcome. You can call the school for information as to, what time and all of that. And the kids would love to have you come in and show off what they do. And if you want to help out, that would be great.
So robotics is getting to routine for us, so we figured we'd add another challenge that keeps it in school even longer, that we were basically told to do, and here it is.
So we're going to space. Robotics on Earth wasn't hard enough. Everybody knows robotics. So we were presented a challenge that there is an opportunity for students to actually send an experiment up to the International Space Station. So Lafayette Parish is going to space. We were presented this project by a local philanthropist, and his drive and enthusiasm made it a win-win situation for us. So we were hooked up with a school in California called Valley Christian School, and they have their own entity called Quest for Education. And with that, they are partnered with a company called NanoRacks. And NanoRacks is, they provide a house on the ISS for experiments to go into. And so Valley Christian School is our partner in this, and they are the school that trained the 3 mentors. They are our experts in this field. We need them, we pick up the phone, we call them. And they're our resource to go to for making sure we have NASA safety specifications, to make sure we're on the right track as far as time. And they will actually work with our prototype that we initially do in December and actually have feedback for us. We bring it back to Lafayette, and then we send it to them in March, and then they take over and decide where we're going to be put, and the students are going to explain a little bit more. So this is a partnership with Valley Christian Schools and NanoRacks. It's also a partnership with the community. We received a nice grant from the Pew Family Foundation. We've also received a grant from the Lafayette Education Foundation. And like Mr. Argent mentioned a while ago, we've also had fundraising through Barnes & Noble. And we're interested in sharing our information with the community, but we also want feedback. We are science professionals that went to school to be teachers, and our science expertise is probably limited when you start talking about the different types of science experiments that are actually going on in Lafayette Parish, with the university, with the community college, maybe with private industry, and that's where we're needing some help. As far as individuals coming and working with us, and there may be things that are going on with this experiment that we never thought of. So that's kind of an introduction to our program that we're doing.
And we were chosen as 1 out of 11 schools in the entire world to put this kind of experiment on the International Space Station.
We got to meet an astronaut. For real about that.
So our goal as students of our engineering and biomedical pathways is to come together and actually build this experiment. The goal is to test the effectiveness of an antibiotic against a bacteria infection known as Micrococcus luteus, very funny name, and microgravity around Earth on the ISS.
So we had to figure out how to get one experiment into a little tiny capsule and figure out what we can do to get biomed into an engineering environment. So we are going to, like Paul said, test antibiotics in microgravity on bacterial growth. In that little thing.
Yeah, we call it a stick of butter. So we can pass this around.
So that Micrococcus luteus is a bacteria that we all have on our skin, but it affects people with weak immune systems like astronauts. So we are going it in space, and we're going to find a way to kill it in space to see if we could treat astronauts.
Okay, so we have bacteria, but we need to find a way to see the bacteria in space since the start, and we didn't want to add more lights and stuff, because adding more lights would mean taking more electricity, which we have very limited. So we decided to modify the Micrococcus luteus with a jellyfish-glowing protein, which is called green fluorescent protein. And how we do it is through genetic modification, which is the HBS or MI.
So one of the classes, the biomedical classes we teach, it's actually a lab that we do in the class, and so that was my expertise. And that's we were able to work with the students to teach them about genetically modified organisms. And in this case, there is nothing wrong with a genetically modified organism. Our bacteria will glow in space, and then we're going to use a camera to actually take pictures of that bacteria to actually see whether or not it's growing, and then use the antibiotic and then see if we actually can kill it.
The program that we're going to be using to program this is P-Basic. we're going to be programming LED to turn on every time we take a picture. We're going to be programming a camera to take pictures. We have pumps that we're going to be programming to open and close, and we're going to be toggling the vibrator. We got these templates from Valley Christian that really, like, most of it's already predefined. We don't really have to do much. We just need to change it to our specific experiment. The McMec right here is, we also got this from Valley Christian. It's not much that we need to change to it. We just need to tell it where to send the electricity to and what to do at what time. Most of it's already done for us.
The electricity, we're only given 100 milliamps at any given time at 5 volts. So that's one of our constraints that we have to sit in, which is not easy. That's barely anything. And then also the electric team, we're designing and building our own PCB. We're making the schematic for it. Everything student done pretty much.
And so what you see here in the picture is a sample of the actual printed circuit board that you see right here. And this is the size that has to fit inside of a little stick of butter. So the students end up designing the entire schematic, and the astronauts are given this, like that little case you see here. And literally, all they do is take this, plug it into a rack that is just like this up on the International Space Station, and the entire product has to work autonomously. So it's got to start itself, it's got to take its tests on its own, it's got to stop itself, it's got to send data and save data, and then 30 days later we get the results.
We get continuous data, so it's not once the project is over we have to receive any type of data. And so that'll be our interesting, I guess, exposure with these students to actually start looking at data and analyzing it, using some statistics, statistical models, but also with the pictures, hopefully we're going to be able to use a software that would look at the luminescence of that protein and actually determine how many bacteria are still living, if they were living 2 hours ago and they're still the same ones. And then once we introduce our antibiotic, then hopefully we will actually see that luminescence go away.
So Alex, you want to tell us about the design team? What you guys have to do?
Alright, so yeah, me and Logan here are part of the design team, and one of the fundamental parts that we use to design this is a program called Autodesk Inventor. So we take every single piece that we're planning on putting inside of our experiment, and we model it three-dimensionally, and then we actually make an assembly combining all those parts together to make a 3D representation of the final product. So with that, we're able to decide, since space is limited, where things need to go, if we can or cannot use these parts. If something's too big, we have to go back to the drawing board and do some more research and try to find how we can shrink things down. So our experiment will be getting into space on a Falcon 9 rocket by SpaceX Industries. Once it gets up there, all the astronauts doing, as Mr. Arton said, is he's just going to take it and plug it in. All programming from then is going to have to run the rest of the experiment. We're taking images, humidity, temperature data, and such, and it's all the instant it gets power, the program runs, and that's it.
So we're going to need experts in all fields to help us out where we can't fill in the gaps. We need people with electrical, public relations, project management, biomedical engineering, nanotechnology, micromanufacturing. We need the whole 9 yards.
And again, we'd like to thank the sponsors that we have and our mentors. We've had several come in to the school and work with our children. And we'd like to invite y'all again to come out to school. We have a work day on Monday, the 16th. All day the kids will be working in the ISS room. And so you can call the school if you want information on it.
And these are just some of the mentors that have come on board with us already. The Pew Foundation has been immensely supportive to us. Mr. Pew himself has come to our school every time we've had a meeting, and he has guided our students through every aspect of this project. And the surrounding universities have also pitched in a whole lot in all of their expertise, so we'd like to really thank them. And another thing is that as part of the team, because it is going to take a great deal of money in the area of $10,000 to $20,000 to get the team to and from the launch, and also we go back on December 9th, from the 9th through the 12th. The team ends up bringing the actual prototype of the microlab, all completed and done as far as we can see, to have it tested to make sure that it's flight ready. And then from that day, those 3 days, we need to be able to pay for travel and housing and food for at least 5 students and the 3 mentors, myself, Nicolette Darjeon, Ms. Stacy Badrini, who is our environmental science, Stephanie Badrini, our environmental science academy director, and also Ms. Stacy Thibodeau. And the team that you see here, all of the captains of the team are going to be able to participate and be able to go. And the thing is that once we do this, we have been offered several opportunities for the community to get involved. One of those opportunities is for students to be able to gather pictures from various, everybody in around Lafayette and around Louisiana if possible, to be able to send to space. You can have an opportunity to put your picture and your school logo in space, and your student and business logo in space. So if there are any questions, we'd like to be able to offer that to you now. Oh, yes.
Well, it's not really a question, it's a comment. I think this is so cool. Like, that's so cool.
Well, thank you so much. Right back here.
What time did you say that the thing started where we can go and watch the good at school?
We work every Monday and Wednesday from 2:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon. Yes.
About the concentrating on the mornings, when is that and what time?
It is March 17th through the 19th, and it's all day for 3 days. A lot of what we usually do is we get a bus to get some of the students from school to go and to visit, and I've even incorporated it to my engineering classes, and the students end up going and just seeing what is out there, what level of competition there is, what level of science they can go, and also there are sponsors there, NASA's there, universities from New Orleans are there, universities from around the entire southern region of the United States are there, looking for students to come and get scholarships. It's an amazing scholarship opportunity. So it's a free event also. It's absolutely free. Good. Anybody? Thank you so much.